Yesterday at the same time, we were showing you how the entire country celebrated Ram Navami, including West Bengal. We also wondered why, even as the Shobha Yatras proceeded peacefully, the Chief Minister of Bengal kept warning of riots and worse. And today, it seems that forecast came true, at least when it comes to violence marring religious processions. Rallies came under attack in various parts of West Bengal, including Murshidabad and East Mednipur. In Murshidabad, stone pelting was reported. In Rezinagar, dramatic images showed how the Yatras were attacked in Shaktipur and Manikhyar areas. Not just that, even the security forces had stones pelted at them. Eventually, they had to resort to firing tear gas shells and also lathi charge the miscreants. Stones were pelted at the Yatris from rooftops. Crude bombs were also allegedly hurled, and a few shops were looted, some set ablaze. In fact, in one of the images, a sharp weapon can be seen, indicating that maybe weapons were also brought in. But let's get you a close-up of the pelters on the rooftop. These visuals clearly show 8 people on the roof pelting stones from there. There appears to be 7 men and 1 woman who are handing over what looks like bricks to the others, who are then throwing them at the procession. The question is, was this a deliberate attempt to try and create unrest, to try and show that people were provoking a reaction? And if yes, then by who? Now, about 20 people suffered injuries during this incident. 12 to 13 are still hospitalized, while 4 have been discharged after treatment.
Ram Navami গেল সারা রাজ্যে মুর্শিদাবাদের ঘটনা আমি যদি বলি পরিকল্পিত ঘটনা আজ সকাল থেকে সব ন্যাশনাল মিডিয়া আর রিজিওনাল মিডিয়াকে বলে দিয়েছে একতরফাভাবে সংখ্যালঘুদের বিরুদ্ধে মিথ্যে কথা বলতে আর হিন্দু মুসলমানের বিভাজন করতে। আমি যদি পলটা আপনাদের বলি পরশু দিনের ঘটনা ঘটিয়েছিল কারা, আমি চ্যালেঞ্জ করে বলছি বিজেপি একই জায়গায় তারপরের দিন গিয়ে প্রথম অ্যাটাক করলো কারা, বিজেপি এমএলএ দলবল নিয়ে গিয়ে। আপনি রামনবমীর মিছিল করতে গেছেন, অস্ত্র নিয়ে আক্রমণ করতে আপনাকে কে বলেছে? রামনবমীর আগের দিন কেন আপনারা হঠাৎ করে ডিআইজি কে সরিয়ে দিলেন? এই প্ল্যানটা করবার জন্য।
Tuhin Sinha and Tushar Gupta continue with us, as does Sanjay Jha. My first question is to political analyst Professor Manojit Mandal. Why was this allowed to happen, sir, if a yatra was indeed proceeding in Murshidabad? How did people gather and pelt stones at it?
This has to be answered by the Election Commission of India. Without rhyme and reason, only 3-4 days back, removed the DIG from that particular area. What was his fault? He was manning the law and order in that particular area. Why he was removed without any notice, without any rhyme and reason? And now when these things happened, and because of the provocation from BJP, you are making this an issue? Were they allowed with weapons, swords and all kinds of other weapons, not guns? Though this time the court directly banned that these kind of weapons cannot be used. Despite that, these BJP goons, in the name of Ram Navami, they come up with all kinds of swords and other weapons. Why?
Okay, answer that. Tuhin Sinha, Mamata Banerjee had been warning of it, and it happened on the watch of the Election Commission. Tuhin Sinha.
Make law and order in that particular area, and they deliberately...
Well, Padmaja, Mamata Banerjee clearly draws her inspiration from Sirajuddaula and Hussein's Shaheed Sohrawardi. So, every time on the eve of Ram Navami, she gives you specific dates on when riots would take place. Like she gave out this time on 17th April. She told 10 days ago that riots would start on 17th April because she had a precise idea. Now, I just want to take you 1 year back. In April 2023, the Calcutta High Court, in a similar, in the aftermath of a similar rioting during the last year's Ram Navami, had transferred the case to NIA. And when Mamata Banerjee appealed against that, even the Supreme Court had validated the High Court's decision. So, Calcutta And Bengal today has a history of these riots, specifically in areas like Murshidabad, especially in areas like Basirhat, in areas like Midnapur, because this is where Mamata Banerjee has been carrying out her experiments of distorting the state's demography. This is where she has settled, illegal Bangladeshis in large numbers, and these areas are prone because of that. But I want to extend it beyond Bengal. This is a pattern emerging across India-alliance states, even in nearby Jharkhand. Even in neighboring Jharkhand, thanks to, a drone monitoring which was happening 2 days before Ram Navami, at least 6 buildings were detected where bombs were stocked in large numbers.
No. Bombs were not stocked. I want to interrupt you there. The police subsequently clarified there were no bombs stocked. The police did a drone monitoring and they told people that, listen, if you have some construction material and bricks stored on your rooftops, please remove it. It should not be misused. Subsequently, a clarification was given by the police. But Professor Mandal responded, a serious charge made by the BJP that this was done in a planned fashion, and that's why the CM spoke of it earlier.
Yeah, this was done in a very planned fashion by BJP and their election commission.
But why would BJP pelt stones at a Shobha Yatra?
For at least 2 years. Can I answer? And your friend from BJP was lying to his heel while he was saying that NI was investigating. But I want to ask, what NI has done in the last 1 year? How many people were arrested?
Sir, answer my question on what happened yesterday.
It is proven.
Why would you are saying the BJP is getting the Shobha Yatra pelted with stones?
Tiwari in Bengal, that particular SP had to be called back to Delhi because he was apparently taking money for raiding in the house of the
Professor
TMC
Mandal,
people.
either we can go all over the place or we can talk about these images on our screen.
Talk about NI investigation. What has the NI done in the last 1 year?
I want to talk about a specific image.
If
you can see 8 people on a rooftop pelting stones.
Investigation in the last 3 years only and nothing has been done.
Okay, let me bring in Tushar Gupta. Tushar Gupta, one point that Professor Mandal has made is very valid, which is that right now there are central paramilitary forces deployed, and large number of them. EC is in charge of law and order. Then how did this happen? The blame stops there. The buck will stop there.
So is Professor Mandal confessing that before the election commission took over, the TMC government was responsible? Because it's not the first time it has happened in West Bengal, Padmaja. Year after year, festival after festival, months after months, we keep discussing this problem of West Bengal. Why does the preaching about secularism stop at the borders of West Bengal, I wonder? Why does the sugar-coated rhetorics from the leaders and representatives of the opposition stop at the borders of West Bengal? When there are stones and whatnot found on the rooftops, people say it's the BJP's own doing to create an enemy out of the TMC. Have we forgotten what the National Human Rights Commission report said about the post-poll violence in Bengal? And have we forgotten what they said about the condition of the people who decided to go for the BJP just because they were Hindus, they were targeted? And yet in 2024, we are going to sit here and pretend on the saying of Professor Mandal that it's the election commission's doing.
Why can't
central forces did prevent it to a certain extent, one would think. Because it has been far more intense in the preceding times, Padmaja. This is not something that's very rare to West Bengal. It keeps happening in routine. One can only hope that the intensity or the magnitude comes down. But the people who keep preaching about secularism in every second state of India, and they must, what happens to them when it comes to West Bengal? Why do they have their lips shut tight?
Sanjay Jha, I want to play for you something that happened in Karnataka. And that actually is way more shocking. The fact that you had 3 men who were going in a car where you had Jai Shri Ram playing. They were intercepted by a couple of young men and they were told, you can't say Jai Shri Ram. Why I'm asking you this question is because of the point that Tuhin Sinha made earlier that this is a systemic rot and it is seen in all the places where INDI is in power. Let's listen to what happened and then Sanjay Jha respond.
Hey, Guru.
Jai Shri Ram, no.
Yaka?
Jai Shri Ram. Only Allah.
Yenike?
Akbar.
Yenike?
Yenike?
Video. ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ನಾವೇನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಬ್ಬಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಬ್ಬಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ನಾವು
Sanjay Jha from Bengal to Bengaluru.
Padmaja, let me answer you with full responsibility that the BJP is aware. You know, remember your own Times Now survey showed that polarization is having negligible impact in these elections. But polarization is BJP's political business model. They can't do anything about it. And for them, a desperate situation means desperate solutions, which is go back to polarization because that's the only thing they know. Let me give you a short answer. You know, I think it was what I think either Tushar or Tuhin mentioned, you know, they're inspired by XYZ. Mamta is inspired, but I can tell you who the BJP is inspired by the British, the policy of divide and rule. I'll give you one example. This is election time. Expect more, Padmaja. You and I are going to have more of these conversations till the elections are over on the 1st of June. You remember Muzaffarnagar? It turned the Lok Sabha results of 2014, and the Muzaffarnagar violence was triggered by, we all know who were involved in that. The fake video, they're spread by BJP local leaders who are now, you know, pretty prominent in the government, and we all know how BJP
And Samajwadi
benefited by a
Party
windfall
leaders.
to Uttar Pradesh. We all know that.
We also know very, very senior Samajwadi Party leaders who were then ministers at that time in 2013. We know of the role of those ministers as well. But what's your point? What's it got to do with people being stopped in a car just because Jai Shri Ram is playing and being told to say no Jai Shri Ram?
I can tell you, Padmaja, have seen BJP's production through their IT cell of all kinds of items. You know, nobody in the world with the right senses should believe anything out there in election time being promoted by the BJP because they are capable of indulging in the most vicious and vile propaganda to try and
Sanjay Jha, you might call this a BJP IT cell production, but in Karnataka you have a Congress government and they have arrested people. Karnataka government has arrested people who did this, who stopped men saying Jai Shri Ram and said no Jai Shri Ram, only Allahu Akbar. Siddharamaya's government has arrested. So this happened.
I think, Padmaja, it may have happened. I'm saying that the BJP is engineering tensions across the country. They will do it deliberately. They know how to provoke communities.
Sir,
you know
are you saying that BJP got these two men to get behind a car and say, you can't play Jai Shri Ram, only say Allahu Akbar? And then Siddaramaiah went and said, BJP has sent you, but we'll arrest you nonetheless.
Do you know what happened in Nuh in Haryana? I mean, everybody from the BJP is in this trip to try and divide society. There will be people who will get aggravated from both sides. And it is unfortunate, condemnable. But this is what the BJP wants.
Okay, I'm still not able to understand how the IT cell came into this. Tuhin Sinha should explain.
But I got it. Padmaja, this is exactly the compromise mindset, you know, which most Indie Alliance leaders exhibit and which by default assumes that all the riots in this country are the handiwork of BJP workers. This is the mindset which was responsible for the communal violence bill of 2011, which we successfully defeated. Imagine what would have happened to this country if you had leaders like Mamta Banerjee going about assuming that riots would be created by the Hindu community. This time, did you mark how did she wish people on Ram Navami? In one tweet, she says, "Happy Ram Navami, please maintain peace." Would she do that to any other festival? So this is the compromise mindset which assumes that every riot in this country by default is the creation of BJP, and this is why people have rejected these people.
Okay, just to make facts clear, these two men have since been arrested. They have been identified as Farman and Sameer. They are residents of MS Palya. And just by the way, the three men who were attacked, they were minding their own business. They were traveling in a car. They displayed a saffron flag and they were playing Jai Shri Ram in their own car and chanting Jai Shri Ram in their own car. But they were stopped, they were attacked and they were told, you can't say this. And this, we're waiting to see if indeed Farman and Sameer are members of the BJP IT cell. Tushar wants to quickly respond.
You know, I must remind Sanjay Jha what happened in Nuh since the video clips came out. There were women and children and elderlies hiding behind cars because stone was being pelted on them. just so as to refresh your memory. And because of this habit of yours of cooking up stories on national television is why you have credibility which boils down to an absolute zero. You do not want to acknowledge problems the Congress government is willing to acknowledge in Karnataka when they arrest two people who are trying to intervene with people using their own car, chanting their Jai Shri Ram in their own private space. You're cooking up of imaginary stories saying that the Muzaffarnagar riots somehow had an impact on the 2014 elections. What happened in the 2019 elections? And since you like to quote the Times Now survey so much, do also acknowledge that the Times Now survey predicts a 360 plus seats for the NDA in coming 2024. Which right are you looking at right now?
30 seconds,
So
Sanjay,
please,
respond.
on national television,
Padmaja,
stop cooking up imaginary stories.
Padmaja, yeah. There are 2 points I wish to make once again. Firstly, the incident is true. The Karnataka state government of the Congress has taken action. That's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that the BJP uses the strategy, the political strategy of polarizing society at every particular stage. It is resulting in what I call as bitterness, acrimony, and this is the kind of hate they want to see in society.
So, Mr. Shah, what should be done in the interest of communal harmony? That people who get beaten should not complain because it would be seen as polarizing or it would be seen as communalizing. So if you get beaten, just shut up because people might think you're polarizing. I wonder if that's what should be done in the interest of communal harmony. We'll leave it at that. Thanks, gentlemen, for joining me. The plus side, though, is that fortunately this time, all of Ram Navami celebrations passed off peacefully, and let's hope that's the way it will stay. Thanks for watching.